Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. No matter the time of day or where you're checking out our podcast from, thanks so much for joining us. I'm your host, Steve Henning, and today we'll be discussing partnerships. Partnerships are really those reciprocal relationships that are hopefully beneficial for everyone involved. First and foremost, they should be beneficial for your customers, but also they should benefit your business, the partner's business, and hopefully others involved. And I'm really excited to say that we have an expert not only in the automotive space, but also in the arena of partnerships joining us today. It's Candy McCollum from COMVOY.com. And just to make sure you got it right, it's COMVOY, COMVOY.com. Candy, again, appreciate you taking the time to join us. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning. Morning for me, Steve. Okay. So good morning. It's very exciting to always do these with you.
Well, we appreciate it. And I certainly enjoy the conversations we've had. And I'm looking forward to this one. So, maybe let's just jump right in. Right. So sure. You're the manager of partnerships and business development for COMVOY. So maybe from your perspective, can you share what you look for in a partner and kind of what that process looks like for you?
Okay, this is fun. So there's not like one answer, Steve, right? Because sure. There's multiple different things. But I guess for my role at COMVOY, COMVOY's really built when I'm thinking about partnerships. It's, I'm thinking about our dealer network on COMVOY, right? Mm-hmm. Like things that could benefit them. Our end users, which is COMVOY was built to serve the commercial vehicle space. And with this shopping for those vehicles, what could benefit them or help them? And I think the first step for me when you're talking about process is always how can we help, right? How can we help? Even if we're like at shows, right? Or trade shows. And sometimes it's a little awkward to make your introduction or how you're going to meet people or talk to people, or sometimes even your neighbor, right? But I think it all comes with how can we help? And I think that as you answer things that way and listen, you learn, right? I'm horrible at quotes, so I can't get it exactly right. But Albert Einstein had some kind of quote about, he had no special abilities or talents, but he was always curious, right, about learning or something. And I believe that with all my heart. And I think that's where the process starts. So, we think about COMVOY, right truck, right place, right time. What kinds of things, in my mind, sometimes I have these things thinking, oh, these partnerships could help or this would help. But I really think genuinely it comes down to introductions, learning from your other partners, those other relationships that you have. It shares expertise, and you'll be able to bring that expertise to your customer, right? And again, COMVOY is a little bit different because that could be the end user. It could be our dealer network. It could be our upfit partners, or we have subject matter experts. So there's just a lot of different things around. At the end of the day, it just lets us understand the importance of everyone around us.
I think that's a great approach. And I really like the way you started that with first thing you should look at is how can you help or where can you help? And you also mentioned multiple customers. And I think for many businesses, that's likely true. It's maybe there's a main set of people that are your customers, but then there's others. And you outline that a little bit for COMVOY specifically. But like I said, more than anything, I really like the approach of let's look at where we can help, because likely if you can help, that should be beneficial and should serve your business pretty well. And maybe that's a segue to my next question. What would you say to, a company that has more of, let's call it a lone wolf approach, that's not really interested in partnerships? Do you think they're missing the boat there? Should they reconsider? And then specifically talking, COMVOY, those strategic partnerships, it sounds like, have been pretty instrumental in the growth. Is that accurate?
No, I would totally say that that's accurate. Again, I think that those partnerships, Steve, they help all, right? So once you start building that network, it helps drive that innovation. It just facilitates collaboration, right? The knowledge sharing back and forth. For the lone wolf approach, I wouldn't want that to be my approach, right? Like I think that serving others and being helpful does a lot of things. The facilitating the collaboration and the relationships, but it's trust, right? It's being relevant. And at the end of the day, we know, just let's look at the last couple of years, things change. They change drastically. Sometimes we might know that the change is coming and try to prepare, and maybe it didn't change exactly like we thought. But of all things, whether it be work or personal, it's the relevant part that matters, right? And those partnerships bring that, because you're making, again, resources available, knowledge sharing available to the whole group. And, it does have to be mutual, but sometimes those partnerships are not transactional, right? So it's not very transactional. You're really doing it to help, right?
It's a great point.
And as they said, it's interesting because I had read recently that it takes 7 months to build trust. Right.
Okay.
So, just something to think about. In that time, as you're building those relationships and partnerships and you're learning more about, right. And maybe it's not a transactional one.
Sure.
But maybe they have someone in their network that is beneficial. And because you've built that trust and you've built that relationship and you've genuinely wanted to learn and wanted to help, it all comes full circle. And I think that's the most exciting thing that I can say about COMVOY, because it has led us to paths where we've been able to help others. We just had a press release.
I'm aware. You announced a new partnership. Yeah. Tell us a little about that. This is a good time to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's just a great example where you have a network of these contractors, right? And they're working with Veriforce, and guess
and Veriforce is who the partnership is with, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Great.
And you never really maybe think about it. Maybe in the beginning of this whole process, I wasn't thinking, oh, that'd be someone to go reach out to, right? Proactively. But it's that building that network. It's building those relationships, understanding more. And then you're like, oh, yes. Oh, that makes sense. Is that what they do? Right? Like, it's just understanding who your end user is. And, from this aspect of it, it's the person that's coming to COMVOY to try to find a vehicle, right? To make it easy to search by the filters. Fast, quick, efficient.
Yep.
So super, super excited about, hey, we were able to help these people that need work trucks, and we're giving them the marketplace and the ability to do so. In that, Steve, that helps everyone else too. So it also helps the dealer network, right?
Sure.
Because now their inventory is in front of, a different group of folks in a different kind of way. I don't know. I just think it's exciting. I don't want to spend the whole time about me getting excited about how these things, one things lead to another, but in building that trust in 7 months, you have to, sometimes it takes 7 months to find the synergy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Right.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think that's really cool. And it's not only the, I guess, reciprocal, relationship between COMVOY and Veriforce, but again, I really like the fact that you espouse the fact that, hey, this helps everybody. So it helps those contractors out there that need work trucks and vans and SUVs, It helps them, have a place to go look for them and do so in a fast, efficient manner. So it's better for them and their business. But then there's the other customers you talked about, the network of dealers. Let's take the blinders off a little bit and think big picture. There's probably all sorts of relationships out there that can benefit many, many people if we just be willing to explore them a little more.
Yeah, and I want to, if I can, Steve, I just want to add on that because talking about finding these partnerships, sometimes it is that trusted network with our dealers, right?
Yeah.
Where we proactively want to learn more, right? Because things are changing for those, they're changing for all of us. They're changing for you, for me. They're changing for them. They're having to do things different under different circumstances. Right. So, sometimes hearing things from their perspective opens up different ideas and where things are going. And, I get to do the fun part of having these relationships and building them. There's some more coming soon, right, Steve? But but when you think about where we are today in 2024 and just a lot of shifts and making things easier, right? Because I believe the people that have invested, that decided not to take the lone wolf approach, right? And they've invested in those partnerships and strategy because it's strategic, it's, and also invested in believing in, hey, I can help you with this. You can help me with this. I have this great information or understanding of this that I can share with you to help you better understand that. And then that's how you start seeing the ways to form great things. So, people that are looking for trucks, they need a lot of different things, Steve. Once they get to COMVOY, there's multitude of things that they may need or be resources. It could be resources and just understanding what the next one's going to be. Right? Should I move from this body type to this body type? I say I'm just going to use landscaping because yesterday when I came home, I had the landscapers were at my home. So he used to just have a truck and, just a landscape trailer. Now he has a landscape dump truck and a trailer with an additional crew with a box truck, right? So in just conversation and wanting to learn his thought process behind those moves, right? I thought maybe he just got a lot of business and had to have additional stuff, but it was more along the lines of, I invested in this because I knew that I could take on these additional things, right? So we try to provide content like that on COMVOY. So maybe wherever they're at, whether it's actually ready to be, I want to quote on a truck, right?
Well, sounds like that particular landscaper was pretty strategic with his approach. And, he may well have been looking for those resources. Okay, I know I need to, pursue upgrading the gear that I use in my business, but I'm not quite sure where to go or, what do I need to know, those kind of things. So those resources, I think, are critically important. And, I like the fact that COMVOY serves some of that up to site visitors as well. And you mentioned a moment ago, there's lots of other things that a business owner, fleet manager, et cetera, might need beyond just a vehicle. And you touched on, hey, there's some other partnerships we're looking at, realizing you probably can't specifically say, hey, here's who we're talking to if it's not a done deal yet. But can you maybe give us an idea of just some of the types of partnerships that you're pursuing or you think might be beneficial to that B2B audience?
Sure. So I think that there's services out there that try to facilitate the streamline for their specific audience, right? These could be a particular vocation, particular association. So those partnerships start with reaching out with those folks. And, that could be insurance, right? Could be financing. It could be, and not just insurance on the vehicle, Steve. Like we know that, I mean, sometimes I forget, but there's a lot of different kinds of insurance when you're dependent on the vocation, right? So,
Sure.
you know, partnerships out there help those people find those resources that they need, because it's not, around the corner on everything. And sometimes it's about understanding total cost of ownership, right?
Right.
It's very, very hard to do when you start taking in multiple different things and not just looking at one single thing and making it more customized for your situation, right? Looking at your situation, Steve, not just saying, hey, this is a number. So partnerships that bring tools like that to help, and again, that helps the dealer network as well, right?
That all makes a lot of sense, and I like the what I would call the holistic approach. So great conversation as always, Candy. Really enjoyed talking about partnerships. And for those of you out there that might be looking for a vehicle, go check out COMVOY.com. Or if you're a dealer and you're looking for perhaps other opportunities, reach out. COMVOY might be a good opportunity for you as well. And if you're one of those other businesses that's in the space, but maybe you're looking for other avenues or opportunities, sounds like you ought to reach out to Candy and talk a little more and see what those opportunities might be like. And hopefully, you're not that lone wolf. It doesn't sound like that's probably the best way to build a business. I'm a believer in there's lots of smart people out there, many smarter than me, and I try to listen to what they have to say and learn from them. I think that's, a very good approach. And then you adopt a bit of, I guess, their approach and their strategy and make part of that your own. And that's how you become successful.
I agree, Steve. And I just want to end with saying that, it's the entire team at COMVOY that's committed to this type of approach. It's just, sometimes I get to be in the front, right, of it, but it's the entire team. It's from the service, product, right, leadership. It is totally committed to, we know our why in this space, right? And we still get excited about it.
That's great.
When we get up in the morning. So yes, I would always welcome any kind of business to reach out, because, sometimes, again, you might not see the synergy right there, but if it's something you want to learn more about, right? The synergies totally could come. And I would ask that you always could go to COMVOY and sign up for our newsletter, right? It comes out twice a month, and we get to put some of our content articles in there, talking about the education. Sometimes it's just news, trends, different things, right? But I like to, stay up to date on those things.
Yeah, you bet. Sounds like a great educational resource. Well, thanks again for joining us. Enjoyed the conversation, and partnerships. I think partnerships are where it's at from what it sounds like. So go out and pursue some, and if there's interest, reach out to Candy. I'm sure she'd love to talk to you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.